Yo, what's great with you guys? Today I'm here in Belmar Beach. I'm here at Kai's Kitchen, and I'm here with Omar. Introduce yourself to the people. Tell them who you are and what you do.
Yeah, what's going on? My name's Omar. Um, I'm the owner of Kaya's Kitchen vegan restaurant in Belmar, New Jersey. I've been doing this for over 25 years. I've owned Kaya's now for 20 years. We're actually about to celebrate our 20-year anniversary this week, so this is all pretty good timing for that.
Right.
But yeah, I just been running this restaurant. Family man. Got my wife and kids and all ages. So I stay busy.
Right, right. So is like everybody in your family, everybody vegan, everybody on the same diaphragm, or
At
is
one point or another, my wife is, my kids were raised. My youngest is, he's only 3.
okay?
My oldest, she stayed vegetarian. She's Kaya. That's who the restaurant was named after.
Okay, cool.
She is, and then, I got my son, he goes back and forth. He's 16, but he was for the first, 12, 13 years of his life as well.
Okay, that's cool. Now with you growing up before you turned vegan, have you seen like a difference between like you growing up like before you turned vegan and like how your kids grew up vegan? Do you feel like there's like different things that you see within yourself that you don't see that you didn't see like when you were growing up?
Absolutely. Excuse me, absolutely. It could be anything, I grew up in the 90s, not a vegan vegetarian diet, eating junk food, Burger King,
Yeah.
Popeyes, every, just all the stuff you shouldn't eat.
Right.
And a lot of it, and I feel like in a way that does absorb, the energy. I believe that cuisine does hold energy to a certain extent. Um, and I feel like it becomes you are what you eat.
Right.
It's basically the old saying.
Right.
So yeah,
How do you feel like from so when did you turn vegan? Like at what age? And like what year was that too? So people could have an understanding like how far back like this lifestyle goes.
yeah, man. It's a pretty wild story. I'll try to keep it as entertaining and brief as possible.
Yeah.
I was 19 years old, and I was done with high school. I was working in food, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, doing some knucklehead stuff in the 90s, growing up.
Yeah.
And for some reason or another, I found myself out here. I grew up out in Princeton, Trenton, Mercer County area, bounced around there. And I found myself out here when I was 19 working at a vegetarian restaurant. And, back then for me, it was, all bacon cheesesteaks and, all that good stuff.
Right.
And so it was just a job is how it started, busboy, pretty much your classic American dream, quote unquote, story. Started as a restaurant as a busboy, then, serving tables and worked my way into the kitchen by the time I was around 21. But just to backtrack, when I was 19 and started working there, within like the first month of working there is when, I went vegan because I was eating the food, I was getting awareness, I was, getting educated from whoever, from the other people in the staff, the owner of that restaurant, who was sort of like a guru in that sense of, teaching me how to cook, but also teaching me more about life and, just deeper stuff.
Yeah.
And, the customers, I was just having conversations and you find more stuff out and, it became easy for me.
Right. That's cool to hear though, because like most people like if you ask a person now, well, to be honest, you can ask anybody, like most people wouldn't even have known that was a thing back then. And now people still don't believe like it's really a thing, but like back then I know it was way harder. So what you said 19, what year was it when you were 19?
That was 1998. So,
Word,
it
okay.
was starting to become a thing, for sure. I mean, you got, I've had customers and tell me all the stories. I've been vegetarian since the 70s and like this and that. Back then it was just hummus and, avocado, and you had to make your own tofu out of soybeans and,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So, I mean, but the restaurant that I started working at when I was 19 was called Veggie Works, and they opened in 1994. And back then, they were probably one of 2 restaurants in central Jersey, like the Monmouth County,
was vegan.
area, Monmouth Ocean counties. That was vegan, and so they were sort of like pioneers, in a sense when it came to that. And I was fortunate enough to learn a lot when I worked there. I worked there for 6 years. And then when I was 25, they, for whatever reasons, they had a 10-year run and they were good. They didn't want to do what they were doing anymore. Because I mean,
It's understandable.
it's not an ideal life. It's rewarding in many ways, but it takes a lot too. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of physical labor. It's a lot of hours a week. We're talking 70, 80-hour weeks.
Right.
When I first opened, I was doing 90-hour weeks.
Yeah.
And that was just at 3 days after my firstborn child. So I mean, 25 was a crazy time for me.
Right.
But that's when the path really started to get paved. And I took over. I bought the restaurant I bought the business from them. I changed the name and gave it a little revive. In a sense, did a couple of little menu changes and other things. The refrigerator kicked on. Is that gonna be all right?
Yeah, that's
good.
Yeah,
All right,
that's good.
cool.
Yeah.
So back then, that was really the only place around, and they were a popular little spot. And since then, I guess now, fast forward to 2025, there's 4 vegan spots within a 3-mile radius.
Right.
So it's definitely picked up quite a bit, and I've witnessed a lot of change.
Yeah, that's the next question I want to ask you. Explain some of the changes that you've seen inside of the community and how the food changed, like how people actually cook the vegan food. Because I know back in the day, people weren't making like curried stuff and like doing all the other things that you would do now in this time. Like, so give people a little bit of like that knowledge of like the change of how it really changed over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part that had to do with it was just all the new products that have come out, all the new whatever, for mainstream, you were talking Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger, all that kind of stuff, to just, I guess, cross that bridge a little further into the mainstream where it's more regular. Now you can go to, a Yankee game and they got Beyond Burgers.
Yep.
So it's, back in the day, that wasn't the
King,
case.
Beyond Burgers.
So there's been a lot of that mainstream corporate influence that's kind of infiltrated the vegan, I guess, vegan culture.
Yeah.
Which is, a good thing in a broader sense, as far as if we're just talking creating general awareness of vegan food, even if it's just somebody asking questions like, what is that? Right. And then maybe, hopefully, they could even,
do their own
do a little own research and, dig a little deeper and find more things out because, there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's gotten more popular too. So everybody's got at least a friend or two that's vegan, and whether it be going out and celebrating their birthday or something, and we have a lot of people that come in here, and it's like one person's vegan, it's their birthday, and they come in with 8 friends who aren't vegan, and it turns them on to the food, and they're like, oh, okay, so
Right.
just I think the biggest thing, aside from all of the new products, new recipes, new ways to do things, which we can get into in a little bit. I just think the general awareness and general acceptance of it not being like a stigma or like something weird. Like, being, what do you mean you don't eat meat? Like, vegan? What's vegan?
Right.
So, yeah.
That's good. So like, Cause like right now, like I've probably been vegan for like a year and a half, probably, and like I still get those type of questions like you really don't eat meat or like how do you do it and like all these type of questions and I really just tell people like it's a real conscious decision and you just have to you just it's just like at a certain point in time you start to get aware about certain things and if you don't get aware like you know the outcomes of you just not being aware anything can happen so it's like once you start to be more aware about certain things of just like how the body works and when you put certain things inside of your body like it's live so you'll be more alive it'll change your perspective of how you want to eat but it's still the fact of like the information isn't all the way out there yet.
Absolutely.
So like you just said, it's like these 4 restaurants within this radius, but like how many more restaurants is it that's like not vegan that's like out here? So like people would just go to other spots rather than going to one of these 4.
Yeah, that's a thing, you know, that I've actually seen that within like the vegan social media culture get discussed, you know, just recently.
Yeah.
People, I guess, angry at people for promoting restaurants that aren't vegan because they carry like maybe 1 or 2 good vegan dishes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're not promoting, you know, vegan restaurants, you're promoting this place and they're not even vegan, da da da. I mean, you know, I guess stand in the middle on that, you know what I mean? Where it's like, because I've always looked at Kaya's Kitchen as that bridge restaurant, you know, try to get, you know, as much awareness out there, just try to get people familiar with flavors and this and that.
Yeah.
What made you decide to, you know, go vegan? Was it like an overnight thing or was it?
All right. So like honestly, it kind of was an overnight thing. It kind of sound crazy, like it really was. Like I always had like little thoughts of it, cause I always had like a clean diet and conscious diet, but like I never just thought about going fully vegan. And then I was like doing my podcast and stuff, and like I was kind of just like, all right, like this is interesting, it's cool, but I want to give it another angle for people to just be more interested in coming to look at my network. And I was just like, I know if I could do a diet change, that'd get a whole different crowd of people looking at what I'm doing in a whole different way. Because this is not like, this is why I say it's crazy, because like I did wake up and just do it, but it just wasn't just because of the aesthetic. It was because like it was a serious, like, conscious decision. I'm just like, yeah, I really can't eat like that no more. Like, you know, like just want to do different. And then I was with one of my friends, Ed. We had went to a vegan restaurant called La Luz Kitchen, and to be honest, I was just like, yo, I'm about to tell these people how good this food is. Like,
That's what's up, man.
I like posted a video, and like I wasn't expecting it to do what it did, only because like it was something new, and I didn't plan to do this.
Yeah, so it's organic.
Yeah, like I just was like, yo, turn the camera on, like, and if anybody ever know Ed, see Ed, you can ask him, like, Mike too, he was there too. Y'all was just like, yo, turn the camera on, about to do it. Boom. Did the video, yo, the video did numbers. And I was kind of just like, oh, snap. I was like, word. I was like, this is something that is fresh to people, nobody's doing, and it's just different. It gives people, like, from, like, if we all look at, not us, because we're pretty conscious people, but the regular person, if they see a video of somebody talking about something clean that they know, they're going to watch it. And it's because they haven't seen nothing like it before. So it doesn't matter if you do it 1 time, 2 times, 1,000 times, people going to watch it no matter what. And I don't know what it was. I was just doing like mad research because I started juicing in like 2017. I was telling myself, I'm like, yo, it's going to be a reverse of everything that's going on of how people eat. And like, it's going to be a period of time where, like, seriously, that's all people going to be focused on. Like, people trying to, like, one, get their life together, and how they're getting their life together is the fundamentals, like working out and eating clean, like, and then everything else, people don't realize, and then everything else will just, like, kind of flow after that, because, like, you're more sound with yourself. You could think more clear. You get to do a bunch of different things. But it was really just a conscious decision, and that one conscious decision got me here doing these type of things with people like you.
Or,
Yeah, and it's
or
and I tell people like it's only been a year and a half, so it's not like this is something that I've been doing for like years on years. Yo, I've been vegan the same amount of time that I've been doing videos. So this goes to show you that like if you guys want to get outside and do something, yo, just go do it. Like rather if you have any type of doubt that it's not going to work, what really works when you first do it? You
you'll
got to
never
keep
know. You'll never know if you don't try.
yeah,
You know?
so and I just kept doing it, and I'm like, once again, I'm here being able to give thanks to businesses like you and any other businesses that are pushing cleaner eating, because these are the things that we need to see on our social media and stuff
Absolutely,
like that.
man. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you, doing that. It was sort of
Thank
the
you.
same thing when I opened the restaurant, man. I was, like I said, 25, first kid on the way. I was working, excuse me, working two jobs, two restaurants. At the vegetarian spot, I was working at a burrito spot, during the day, working at the vegetarian spot at night,
Right.
7 days a week. So, one of my friends told me to do it, and he was, he was another restaurant owner, and that just him telling me that, like, I wouldn't even thought of it myself, but like him, telling me to do it, then it got me thinking, and then it, like, then the heart starts beating, like, all right, like, am I really gonna consider opening a business, being my own boss, which is what I always wanted to do, but like with my first kid on the way, and this and that, and if I backed out, who knows?
Yeah, who
this
knows,
would have never happened. So
And I think sometimes that's like some of the like that's the best thing out of like everything. Like if you ever like never look down on yourself or like never like doubt yourself, because when you do, you'll never know what comes after that. Like, well, you do nothing, but
Right.
like if you don't, man, like some great things it really transpires from it.
Absolutely.
Just never being scared, and like I always had, like even like me doing this, like I had doubts. I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, man, like this isn't like, just like, but it's all in my head. I would have never really like say it. I'm just like, I don't know if it's really like, but like I always got confirmation, because like I would go out in public and somebody would say, I seen your video. So I'm like, dang, that right there can like keep you going. Like, and it
Absolutely.
could just be one person.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like, yo, so
Yeah, I'll
I'm
be
like,
at the Restaurant Depot. Someone will be like, "Yo, Kai's Kitchen," and I'm like, what's up?
yeah, man, like
Yeah, it's cool. I mean,
it's cool.
definitely.
It's cool to be really like for even just for what anybody do. Like people don't realize how cool it is to be recognized for what you do,
Yeah,
and not by the people that you know,
yeah.
people that you probably never
Recognized and appreciated. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For sure.
seen,
For sure. And I try to count my blessings every day. It's hard to do sometimes when you're just wrapped up in the regular go mode and you're just grinding, especially like in the summertime when we're like hopping busy like every day. But it's important to reflect on that and give thanks basically, and just know that every day is a blessing, and be able to just do this is a blessing.
Yeah.
Being able to feel good about doing what I do every day. Like I said, even though it's hard work and crazy, it gets crazy sometimes. It's all worth it, because you're feeding people, and you're feeding their souls, and you're feeding their minds more than just their appetites. It's a whole vibe. The music you play, the conversations you have, all that. It all plays in. It's not just the food, even though that's the main driving, instrument,
Right.
for me.
So I want to ask you, like, from you being vegan, what's some of your favorite things that you? Well, no, I want to ask you this: what's some of the hardest things that you felt like you cooked? But what's some of your favorite meals that you cooked as well?
Man, that's a tough one. It's been a long time, man. I've done a lot. In the
Yeah.
beginning, it was just cool coming up with ways to make, vegan scrambled eggs and, vegan pancakes. I got pancakes tattooed on the back of my leg. I loved pancakes, so it was like important to me to replicate the things I loved growing up, comfort foods, whatever, and just put, a healthy twist on it. Some things are, pancakes are still vegan. Pancakes still aren't the healthiest thing in the world, but
Right.
it's there.
It's still what you like.
Yeah. So I mean, just in the beginning, just be able to do those kind of simple things. And then, traveling around, I've had the opportunity to, travel to the Middle East, to, Central America, to India, and just being inspired, the Caribbean, just being inspired by, world cuisine, and then trying to put like your take
twist
on it. And that's what I love about cooking. That's what it's all about. It's a culinary arts. So it's a great way to express, your individual, skills and passion, and everything on my menu is for the most part something I cherished or craved at least at one point in my life. And I just have fun replicating all those things in a plant-based.
Could I ask you on the menu, what's some of your favorite things on the menu, and what some of these things are made by?
Let's see, I haven't even looked at one of these in a minute. What was the second part of that you asked?
And what some of the things are made out of, so people can understand like some of the good value and what they're eating.
Got you. Well, the whole pretty much emphasis of my menu was to try to have something for anybody, kind of like no matter what they're in the mood for. Okay. So it's pretty diverse. There's a lot of things. We start with the appetizers. Just within the appetizers alone, you got like hummus, which is I'm sure most people are familiar with, but if not, it's a chickpea pate, Middle Eastern, seasoned with cumin, and we serve it with pita and crudité, like fresh chopped veggies to dip in the hummus. Okay. That's a staple, basically, I think, in any vegetarian or vegan diet. If you're vegan and you don't like hummus, then you're kind of missing out. And you don't just have to do it with chickpeas. There's also some other ways you could do, like you can use different kinds of beans to make hummus. It doesn't have to just be chickpeas, so you can do like a white bean hummus or whatever. Same thing with hot foods, like refried beans. You can use pinto beans or black beans or kidney beans, or mix them all together. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg of how much fun you can have cooking vegan food and getting creative. Because vegan or plant-based is like a blank canvas. It's like you're trying to infuse these flavors and these textures, whatever you're using. So if like you're using tofu, how am I going to get this tofu to firm up and be something that's supposed to be a little bit firmer? Like what was the last one we did? The pad thai special that we did with the tofu. With traditional pad thai, you want the tofu to be as firm as possible, so there's like little shortcuts. You can cut the tofu sliced into thinner squares, and you can try to press as much of the moisture out and freeze it. Okay. And then thaw it back out. And when you thaw it back out, a lot of that moisture that you squeezed out and the rest like kind of froze out. And if you use it sort of right away after it like thaws back out, before it has a chance to like re-moisten or get like put in water, you want it, but it'll be almost more of a, I guess, a palatable like fake meat substitute, so it's not just like squishy soybean curd.
It comes out as like the same consistency.
Right. But like in like your miso soup, you want that traditional like soft kind of silken tofu, they call it, which is also great to use for making like dressings and dips. Like our ranch sauce is based with the silken tofu. You can make like vegan mayo, vegan sour cream with all that.
Yep.
But now they got, like we were kind of touching on before, they got so many products out there now, between all these brands like BioLife and Follow Your Heart, and there's a million of them.
Yeah.
You can go in the health food store or Whole Foods or wherever, and even the ShopRites now have their own aisles with all that stuff. So it's all there. It's all available. It's all there to try. You know what I mean? All the cheeses and stuff they come out with. I mean, like the mayo, you can't tell the difference. Like the cheeses, they melt like real cheese now. Back in the day when it was first becoming a thing, that was part of the problem was like, that doesn't taste like cheese. It doesn't melt. You
Right.
can sit there and like bake it for an hour, and
Yeah,
it's just
not,
like,
it's not
and so
doing
people are
nothing.
like, that's not cheese. So they've got it down. So basically anything on my menu, you can pretty much find obviously the ingredients for. But then, running down the appetizers some more, not to get just held up on that, but like, we got like tofu buffalo wings, tempeh buffalo wings, cauliflower buffalo wings. So you got 3 different kinds of buffalo wings. I loved buffalo wings growing up. It was one of my favorite foods. I'll sit there and get a tray of like 30 of them and just house it.
That'd be my problem right now, man. I'll be wanting some honey lemon pepper wings and some fries. I'll be like, man, but I can't eat it. I'll be like dying for it, man. It'd be so funny. Like I'll be like my grandma would be cooking stuff. Like they still like eat pork and all that type of stuff. And like sometimes she'll be cooking stuff. I'd be like, yo, my stomach hurt. Like I gotta leave the crib, or like
Yeah, man.
she'll be cooking something that like my body remembers because I've been eating it all my life. I'd be like, yo, I missed that. And then I'm like, yo, I got to get out the crib to go find that. So, like, I ain't going to go try to eat that. Like, it'd be crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got into a good time. Like I said, it's so much easier now than it was just even 5 years ago compared to 10 years ago, compared to when I first started all this, like 20, 25 years ago.
Right.
So, we got like all types of flavors going on with the appetizers, all shareable sizes. We try to go big so nobody ever leaves here hungry. That's another like big no-no. I can't have anybody leave here hungry. We got some bigger sharing size appetizers like the Turkish Delight, which is all of the cold stuff basically, like hummus, baba ganoush, tabbouleh. You got some falafel and tahini on there, and then all the pita and the veggies to dip it, and the vegan feta cheese, which is another thing that's just kind of more really hit over the last couple years. I'm Turkish, so growing up I ate a lot of feta. There's a lot of feta cheese in my house, spinach and feta cheese and olives and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that there's something out there now that comes close to the flavor and the texture.
Yeah. So it's still like the same thing for you. Like it's not like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those were one of the things I was just like, nah, like that was just something I thought I was gonna have to give up, like the idea of being able to replicate. And because like I said, I've been doing this for as long, and that stuff really only came out like just more recently. So
Okay.
I was pleased about that. But and we make 3 different soups every day.
Okay.
We always have chili, French onion soup. We always have like 2 or 3 revolving soups of the day. Like we do a cream of broccoli, mushroom bisque, vegan chicken noodle. So that's always there, especially on days like today when it's cold out, like this season. We have salads, obviously, being a vegan restaurant. The kale Caesar salad, super popular. We saw, a lot of people love that one. That's just like the organic kale tossed up with a homemade Caesar dressing that we make with like a lemon, like you were talking about, like it's like a lemon herb grilled chicken.
Yeah.
But we slice that up and it's like served cold with the croutons and the vegan Parmesan, which is like another thing that's just more kind of new before you had to like make your own with nutritional yeast and which is all still fun to do. That stuff, you want to keep that stuff in your diet. You don't want to switch all over to like all the products that you could buy in a store. You want to still be able to put your twist on it. And nutritional yeast is a great ingredient in plant-based diets because it can really help replicate kind of more of those like cheesy flavors that you want, like mac and cheese and stuff like that. And it's got its own sharp, very unique flavor, but once you get used to it, you actually really and it's super good for you. If nobody's familiar with nutritional yeast, just look up the ingredients, look up the nutritional value, and it'll blow your mind. A couple tablespoons and it's just off the chart. Like
that's one tip for you guys right there, man. Even though we already gave a bunch of game, but that's one tip that you could use, that if you want to have the same taste of like the cheeses and everything, just use that. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Keep doing numbers, man.
And as long as you don't have like a nut allergy, you know, you blend it down with like cashew, and you know, there's all kinds of amazing recipes that you could do with all that stuff. Of course, we have the breakfast corner that's got some more grease truck style sandwiches like the Jersey Devil. That's like vegan pork roll, egg and cheese. Because again, that was something I grew up on.
Staple.
Is, you know, if you're from Central Jersey or New Jersey just in general, but definitely Central Jersey, you know,
definitely
you know
some pork roll.
You know what a pork roll, egg and cheese is all about. You know, we got the sausage, egg and cheese sandwich, and obviously this is all vegan, but and then there's like the breakfast burrito, and then we do French toast, and we do a couple different scramblers, like a ranchero scrambler plate. So yeah, like I was
All
saying,
across the board.
we're trying to check all the boxes. You know, we got all the small stuff, the small meals, the little snacks and side plates, and the breakfast stuff, the sandwiches. You know, burgers, pizzas, all the south of the border stuff like tacos, quesadillas, burritos.
Yeah.
So
You
the
guys
back
get-
page is probably where I think that's where all that stuff is just, you know, your stuff that you want out there on your menu. That's more staples in, you know, American cuisine and just what you'll find in restaurants in general.
Yep.
But the chef specialties, that's more or less where the flavor creations are
Right.
all lie. So
Yeah.
you know, like
That's
the
where the palate, your palate could you get to catch the palate changes.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I try to again touch on basically all flavors of the world in that section of the menu. So you know, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You know, in that section, and so everything kind of made the final cut. You know,
Right.
because my menu's changed over the years, little tweaks here and there. Sometimes, you know, 1 or 2 more major menu changes. But there's always got to be, you know, there's always 2 things that are similar. So like you just want to kind of narrow it down to, you know, try to make it easy for people to read and not get too overwhelmed. A lot of people come in here for the first time and they're not familiar with vegan food, and they're like reading all this stuff.
List. Yeah.
And you know, that was one of the things that I learned from working at VeggieWorks. He had like 75 dinners on his menu, and a lot of people were overwhelmed. You could tell.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of questions, takes a lot of time, adds a little more confusion than you want to the experience.
Right.
So
you kind of want it to be like real simple for real, like boom, 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 kind of like boom, boom,
Right.
boom.
So I got like a couple curries on here. There's like 3 different curries. You know, I got like a Caribbean dish called the Lion of Judah. There's the seitan pepper steak, which is probably the Lion of Judah is up there too, but the pepper steak is like a beef with broccoli kind of, you know, spicy teriyaki-ish kind of flavor. So I really like that one. That's a big one. You know, we got jambalaya, we got pierogies. So you know, just going down the list, and the menu's set up to where you can add any plant-based protein to any of the stews, any of the sautés that I do. So you know, you can get real creative just within that section of the menu.
Right.
You know, and then we always do specials. You know, every day we run different stuff. I always try to keep it fresh. You know.
I want to talk a little bit about the juice bar because I know
Yeah.
there's a little bit of time before we were sitting down to have a conversation and you were saying you were trying to implement it, and now you have it here. So I just want you to explain some of the juices that you guys have here and some of the benefits. You don't got to go too in depth, but you know,
Yeah.
just explain it to them a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, juicing is, if you're not familiar with, is amazing for you. There's just so many benefits. Before we even get into like the thing, just to talk about juicing. I mean, I personally have, you know, 3 people in my life that I know over the years that were diagnosed with cancer, and doctors told them, you know, no chance, like, or maybe not no chance, but you know, you need chemo, you need to do this. And you know, we're talking about, these are parents of my friends, and you know, these are like more hippie, you know, 60s hippie mentality people, and you know, they're like, no, we don't want to, we're gonna go all natural with this and straight up beat cancer by going on a juice diet, like a heavy juice diet, like planned out by a nutritionist who I guess that's their thing.
Yep.
And I wish I knew a little bit more detail about it, but I know they beat cancer by basically juicing.
Yeah.
I think 10 juices a day or
Yeah.
something like that it was, but different combinations of different nutrients and different cancer fighting, because food is medicine, and
Yep.
juicing is probably one of the best ways to get it, because you're concentrating the nutrients into one quick and easy digestible form, and
Yep.
it's going right to your system. When you drink something like we got like the Sunshine Daydream, carrot, apple, lemon, and ginger. That ginger hits, that opens it up, with the lemon and the apple and just the carrot. And that's just, a basic one, obviously. Carrot's got, vitamin A, I think vitamin K. Like, there's a bunch of
Yeah. It's all
benefits
packed in.
to all that stuff. My favorite one is probably the Rasta Mist. That's the carrot, beet, apple.
Hold it down. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. I didn't
Quick
even catch you
timeout. We
back
might
there
have to
saying
go
that.
back and edit. I hope I wasn't muffling too much of the sound, but
No, it's okay.
the Rasta Mist is my favorite juice, because I just like the flavor and the combination of things.
That's the one I had last time when I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my go-to. I juiced every day for probably like a 5-month period at one point in my life. This is probably in my late 20s, early 30s, and I still try to juice, but I was doing it like militantly. I was making sure that like it was part of my like routine every day. And man, I never felt so good. Like, honestly, this is back when I had my dreadlocks, and they were like, they must have grown just in that one summer. They must have dropped like another 5 inches. My nails were growing like crazy. Like every 2 days, I had to like
Cut your nails.
trim my nails, and and that's all the nutrients like pouring at you.
Yeah.
Pouring at you. Your body doesn't lie.
Yep.
So yeah, I highly recommend juicing. Yeah, we just brought the juice bar back over here. It's all a matter of just having the staff on call, you know what I mean? Because I don't like to just offer things at certain times a day and then be like, oh, sorry, the juice bar is closed at 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes someone wants a juice, later on in the day. Sometimes
Yeah,
they worked
7
all day, and
o'clock
that's
at
what they
night.
were looking forward to, or maybe they're on a juice cleanse, and so just as long as we got like the staff and the space and the area in the kitchen where we can get it done. I love to I love that it's a part of our menu and what we do here.
Yep.
For sure.
That's cool, man. Cause like I ain't gonna lie, that's how I lost like all of my weight. I was probably about like at the highest, I was probably like 280.
Oh shit, word.
Yeah, I was 280. I'll show you a picture on my phone.
That's wild.
But I was like when I first started to like do my cleanse, I was like 270. And like, like when I tell you like, all I did was juice, like straight juicing. I didn't do no working out. People thought I was crazy. Like they were like, there's no way that like you just was. People used to tell me like, there's no way that you just sat here and just drank juice and you lost all your weight. I was like, I put it on everything, I juiced legitimately for a year straight. Like every single day. And then there was one point in time, I looked in the mirror, I said, what happened? I'm like, I look like a different person, but my skin was super clear. Like my digestive system and like how everything was working, it was just like, it was perfect. Like, and I was just like, I seen it better. I didn't have allergies anymore. Like I literally didn't have all the things that I used to have growing up. I didn't have it no more. And it kind of blew my mind. And that's when I was kind of just like, this healthy stuff. At first I'm like, it sneaks up on you, but it's like, it's just a consistency thing. I was like, I didn't realize I was literally doing it for a whole year. And then I went from 270 to 170.
That's amazing, bro.
And like, that's how my journey started. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'm just going to continue to just be conscious of like what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, and all that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then as years went by, I was like, you know what? If I done did this for so long, I could just go fully vegan and then just jump right into it. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. If you out there and you have any problems with yourself and you need to figure out a way to reset things, my biggest recommendation is to just start juicing. look up the things that you have the problems on, see what would you say? See what
The health benefits.
yeah.
Absolutely.
See what the health benefits that you need pertaining to the problems that you have, and then go all in and attack all those problems. And I swear, I'm gonna just say 30 days. No, I'm gonna really say 14 days, but 30 days, I promise you, whole brand new person. If you're not, I'll give you $100. But I promise you, at the end of 30 days, if you're consistent, because it depends on you, if you're consistent enough, I'm telling you, you'll really see. You'll see the
feel
changes.
a whole different person. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
mind, body, and soul will just be all. It'll be all in one, man. It'll be intact.
Yeah, and that just goes to show. I mean, really, like, it's a feeling that most people probably never had in their life, unless like, to get that clarity. Because because we were all raised on this fast food, this mass produced, even all the foods got preservatives, chemicals, this, that, everything causes cancer, and the next thing, and it's like, you pick up a box of cereal and it's got 60 ingredients, and it's like, what's
it says at the bottom of every bio and
now it tells you it's got bio manufactured and all this, and half the stuff in the supermarkets here is banned in other countries, and hopefully hopefully some changes will be made as far as that goes. I doubt it, because we're talking about basically Babylon, corporate America. The
shutting down.
The money train's already going, and like there has to be a shift. There has to be a shift to realize that it could still be profitable. We can all still get by just fine.
Right.
If we just did things a little bit better. Which hopefully we'll all see in our lifetime, and I'm optimistic that it could happen, but there definitely needs to be a shift into people just basically it doesn't even have to be a plant-based thing, but it's a revolutionary concept. It's a revolutionary act.
Yep.
To say no to it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole slogan in the 80s growing up, say no to drugs. Well, like, now all you see is drug commercials, and, this is sponsored by Pfizer, and this is this, and this is that. And I hope that doesn't get bleeped off of YouTube or whatever.
Right.
This is going to be, you know what I mean? And it probably will.
Right.
But, I mean, and the food manufacturers, these mass, corporate, Kellogg used to be like a health company. It started off, a lot of people don't know that, back in like, I want to say the late 1800s, early 1900s, they were one of the first original, food companies in this country, and they started off as like a health company. Their health was their thing.
Right.
I guess getting wheat and fiber into people's systems. There's a movie about it. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but you can look it up. It's the movie about the Kellogg Company, and I think Matthew Broderick, the dude that was Ferris Bueller, was in it.
Okay.
I remember, I think we had to watch it in school, and that's pretty much how I know that. And then I researched it a little bit more. But I mean, jump to now, what Kellogg's become, and it's just like poison food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all out there, it's all mainstream, and it just takes a personal, in my opinion, a decision that you have to make. You have to put 10 toes down and really stand firm that you're not gonna go along with this pardon my French, but this bullshit, the shit that they're putting in our bodies, and it's only getting worse. You know?
Because like now at this point where we're at, they solidified it. Like, they know there's so many ways to like manipulate everything that's out here, and that's how they win. Like, somebody would say like, yo, you're about to eat a mushroom that's like a chicken, but you'll eat like lab grown meats, and people honestly don't care. Like, if it looks like it, they'll just cook it, and sometimes people everybody's not as vocal as saying like, hey, like, I tried it before. everybody's gonna say, I just bought regular beef. But either way, it's like you shouldn't be like wanting to indulge in it at all. But everybody does what they do.
Yeah. The jury's still out on the lab-grown meat, so we'll see.
Right.
We'll see what's up with that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you're looking at the bigger picture. Something's got to change, and I think that's a weird answer to the question of how we're going to solve any type of food crisis, any type of food problem that we're reaching. Because any documentary that you watch, and there's a million of them out there, so I'm not going to shout any off in particular. There's just so much information out there. I lost my train of thought because I started talking about the documentary. My bad.
No, it's all right.
But yeah, there's so much information out there, and it's easy to obtain. You know what I mean? You could jump in because I got to remember what I was saying real quick because I had a point.
No, it's okay. I kind of want to ask you more about like the business lane of you being a vegan restaurant owner, and over the years of like the pros and cons of just some of the things that you probably face, like being a vegan restaurant owner, because that's back then that probably wasn't everybody's first look.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it
going
was
forward, it's still not. But
yeah,
you're
it's an
still
uphill battle right off the
thriving and doing
beginning
your
because
thing.
you're already. I mean, it's cool to do it and all that. The people that already know about it, that are into it for their personal reasons or whatever. It's the majority. Unfortunately, the conversation starts with like having to convince somebody of like why I have a vegan restaurant, or that's what it definitely was, back in the day. Not so much anymore because obviously we're established, we've been here a while, but like, it was like almost like you have to convince somebody that it was like a real thing. Like, why is that weird, to y'all? So, it's like an uphill battle right off the bat, just trying to like change people's minds of what they've been, programmed, what they've to perceive, So that's been a part of maneuvering through the whole thing. But I've always been a let my food do my talking kind of thing. I don't like to be, like come off as I never want to come off as I'm better than because I'm attitude and like preaching why people should be vegan because like it happened organic for you. You know what I mean? You felt something at some point in your life, and it happened, and you went with it. You know what I mean? And that could happen for anybody. That could happen for anyone.
Yeah.
So my job is to make sure that people know that they can get by just fine.
Right.
Eating plant-based.
Right.
I did remember my thought. I was talking. I was talking about. I think I was talking about. Like just the corporate structure. Just the, what I was saying about the documentaries. I think my point was going to be. They all say kind of the same thing. There's always the same sentiment that like the population's growing too fast and the farmland's wasting out, you know what I mean? That there's not going to be enough production. You'll hear these like statistics, like off the top of my head, some like there won't be enough food in 2045 to feed, the population if it keeps expanding the way it is. And, that makes you think, you got to actually sit there and say, well, what's an easier solution to come up with lab-grown meat or just adapt a plant-based diet or, a mostly plant-based diet and keep, that very minimal. It shouldn't be the majority. If you can't do 100% plant-based, it shouldn't be a 6 out of 7 day week thing that you're eating meat. Like, it should be like a 1 or 2 day thing, whether it's meat or fish or whatever. But, I mean, you can get by just fine doing it plant-based. And, as I said, I mean, I'm optimistic that a change can be made because I know it's possible.
Right.
We can use the land for a higher purpose. More people can have gardens in their own yards where we don't have to spend so much money at grocery stores and all that good stuff.
Open up more farmers markets. It's a lot of things that I feel like they can do, but they won't because of they feel like a lot of people won't go, but like I feel like if you put it in the right areas, where the right people are at, man, I feel like a lot of people will go. Like, cause like I said earlier, like a lot of people are really aiming towards like trying to just be a little bit more conscious of like what they're eating. If they're not becoming fully vegan or like doing all like everything as a whole, they at least want to juice or eat some fruit. So it's like give people a place where they could buy good fruit rather than them having to go to like somebody told me they bought some fruit from Target. And I was like, yo, like I was like, look, I don't judge nobody. You do what you do, but
Yeah, anytime I hear that, it's crazy, and I get it. Like I know,
I get it.
I know, like foods, but like you have to know that stuff. It's cheap for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not even cheap. It's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I can't say anything's cheap because everything's crazy. The price, but
Yes.
you can't draw the line. I mean, you got to bend a bit. You have to make that sacrifice. Whether it's not paying for a subscription to some streaming service or like just making some other sacrifice that's probably minute in the long run. When you're talking about your health, and I mean, you could tell the difference. You get organic produce, you get something you go to a strawberry field and you go strawberry picking. And when it's in season here in Central Jersey, we got mad farms.
Yes.
There's one right out in Chesterfield or wherever it is. It's right out by like exit 7 off of 195 and where the turnpike hit. It's like out in Robbinsville or something. They got organic strawberry picking and like you could pick those strawberries, and that's what a strawberry is supposed to taste like. It's not supposed to be, this big and have like a half white top and not ripe and picked when it wasn't ripe. Yeah, because I mean, most of the stuff that you find in the supermarket was picked before it was ripe. It was hit with some type of preservative for shipping purposes. And, when fruits or vegetables are picked before their ripeness, they're not hitting their peak nutritional value. Right. So you don't want to, it's almost like it's just like filler at to some degree. People think and the sad thing is people think they're eating healthy. They're like, oh, I had an apple, I had this and that, or whatever. I had these raspberries, but like there is a little bit of research that you have to do to know the difference between what like stuff should look like and taste like.
So could you explain the I don't even know what the exact like name for it, but how you see like the different numbers on different fruits?
Right.
Could
so
you explain that to people so people can
all the produce
that?
should have codes on it. Anything organic always starts with a 9. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a 5-digit code that starts with a 9 on the sticker. Anything that's conventional produce, they call it, which is, I believe, some pesticides are used to some degree. That always starts with a 4. And then anything that I believe that starts with a 2 or a 3 is like basically genetic engineered seeds.
Yeah.
So if you see a 2 or 3, and it's a lot of common stuff too. A lot of Honeycrisp apples, which are really popular now. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of those you pick up in the store. Starts with a 3. I'm like, I'm not buying that. Like I can get organic Honeycrisp apples, and they're 10 times better.
Yep.
So yeah, that's important to know. That's important stuff, definitely for sure. So do some research on that. Educate yourself as far as just what you're putting in your body, because some of that stuff can be dangerous when you're talking about the
juicing and
you don't want to juice stuff that has pesticide or has something depending especially on what kind of vegetable it is. There's like a whole list of like the dirty dozen, which is like
which ones not to like,
right,
and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's another piece of game for you guys, man. Organic fruit. Nothing lower than a 9. Organic fruit.
And going back to juicing, that's why juicing, or like if you're juicing organic fruits and vegetables, like one juice a day, and that's all the nutrients you really need as far as nutrition from it. So then you can do whatever. I mean, I'm not saying eat like trash for the rest of the day, but like you don't even really need to worry about the nutritional value of it. You can kind of eat more for comfort, whether you just kind of like graze throughout the day, which I like to do a lot in the kitchen, working all day. Instead of like sitting down and having 3 meals, I'm just kind of, picking along as I'm prepping and cooking stuff. So,
right.
Yeah, man.
want to ask you if somebody wanted to get started on a vegan diet, or just not even a diet, wanting to become vegan and change their lifestyle. What's some tips that you could give somebody to like start off, like a good way for them to become comfortable with the lifestyle?
I mean, you know, I would say there's all kinds of things that you could do. I mean, we talked a bit on documentaries. There's so many documentaries out there. So just educating yourself and getting that knowledge, and just, and they all have their own topics. One can be about, pesticides and stuff. Like, one can be about, there was a cool documentary that I watched called Rotten, and each episode they would go into this like dark side of an industry, like, so it exposes certain things. It exposes the system, more or less, in a lot of these documentaries. So if you have if you have a conscience, you know what I mean, there's something that should tell you, like, I don't want to support this anymore, or I'm going to do as much as I can not to support this, whether I could do it fully 100% or not. Every little conscious decision that you make, it and then you build on that. And, it could, be contagious, too, I mean, if you want to, if you don't want to, like, take a bunch of friends out to a vegan restaurant or wherever, there's a bunch of social media groups, you can just kind of join, just follow,
Tap
you know what I
into.
mean, tap into,
Yep.
for sure.
And I think that's some of the best ways to like to do it. I'm glad that like I got a friend or two that's like vegan, so like we go to like different spots and stuff like that. But like if I didn't have that, it'd kind of be hard to be able to go to different places, because it's like, one, I'm by myself, and it's like, yeah, this is cool, but it's like this. It's kind of like if it was a group thing, this would be a lot more of an experience. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I try to do. I try to bring that to the world so people can do that here. You know, and it's a beautiful thing when, people have their birthday parties here, whatever, bridal showers, wedding reception dinners and stuff, and everybody's celebrating. Not everybody's vegan in this family. It'd be everybody from grandpa down to the grandkids. But everybody's eating it, everybody's enjoying it. You get the handshakes and the compliments, and we'll be back, and it's cool to see that and be able to witness that for so long.
Right. That's good. I ain't gonna lie, man. Me personally, I love that we had this conversation because of, one, you don't see too many people trying to push this information out to people. And two, it's not a lot of places that are actually comfortable sitting down and doing interviews, or just like having sit downs and just talking to people just about the lifestyle. So one, I really appreciate it. And two, from this, I hope that we could just get more people to just see from what we gave from them inside of the podcast, just the open ear.
Yep.
They don't even have to come try the food out yet. Just the open ear to see what we're talking about and see like actually what it's about. Because if a person is just got an open ear to hear it, they'll have that same open mind to come try it too. But it comes from what we've been saying throughout the whole podcast. Like, you gotta show people that like it's real and it's a thing, and that there's just different ways that you could be accepting to. We all grew up on pork, steak, this. Yo, it was so funny. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I was like, yo, like, you gotta think about it, man. I'm like, yo, like, eating meat goes so, like, the people are so into it. People will eat think about a pig, right? People will eat the foot to the head, right? And the foot to the head is not enough for them. They eat the insides. They eat the intestines and all that stuff. I'd be like, yo, like, what's what's enough for you? Like, you literally,
in a sense, you gotta give respect that they're making use of the whole. You
yes.
hate for an animal to have to lose its life for one part of its, body. But I mean, like, you know, as far as that goes, it's all needless, and it's all pain and suffering, and it's all, you know, disgusting to me, honestly. You know, I know that there's ways to do it cleaner when it comes to eating meat, but for me, you know, it's something that I know I don't need in my life. But I mean, if you have to, you know, try to find a grass-fed farm, you know, somewhere around you. You know what I mean? And I've seen documentaries on that, you know. So, but but I mean, not to promote that, but I mean, like, there is ethical ways, you know, to do it, which, you know, I'm sure you could come across in these documentaries too. But I mean,
right. And to be honest, when we drop this episode, to be honest, hopefully when people watch this, like, it catch the algorithm and other healthy videos come up, so like people could just dive deep into the rabbit hole. It's like,
you know how it works now. You watch one on Amazon, you watch the next one will pop up. They'll recommend it for you now. So I mean, it's
just
easy to find. It's easy to find, but for sure. But yeah, we got to make a change. You know, the way it's going now, it's not good for the masses. It's not good for the, you know, the majority of the way the population's eating right now. So I mean, whatever you could do in your life, I would say, make those, you know, changes. Start with you know, baby steps or just little things here and there, and, you know, hopefully, you know, you can find your way to this interview and, you know,
and reach that point of the journey, man. I definitely want to say I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Yes, definitely, man. Definitely
Always.
A good podcast. I hope everybody that comes to this, they could use this as just like as a blueprint to segue into the different things that's about this lifestyle. And if you do have problems, you use this information to try to get more information about the problems you have, to fix what you have. I want to say appreciate you guys for tuning in to everything that I've done all the way into this way. I want to say shout out to you because it's about to be your 20th year doing what you do. Everybody follow him, Kaya's Kitchen. You don't have no personal page, but Kaya's Kitchen, follow him.
Yeah. Instagram, Facebook, if whatever.
Everything's
all
the
that.
same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All
Kaya's
across
Kitchen,
the board.
Belmar.
Kaya's Kitchen, Student of the Game podcast, and we out, man. Tap in. Do numbers.